The USGS estimates that there are 500,000 detectable earthquakes occurring every year all over the world, 10,000 of which happen right here in Southern California. With those kinds of numbers, some might be surprised to find that many California homeowners are not covered when it comes to the potential threat this could impose on their property.
Only about 10% of homeowners actually have earthquake insurance. The vast majority of folks do not have the coverage. That's very interesting, especially considering that we live here in California, in earthquake country. Also, what's interesting is that people tend to rush out and buy earthquake insurance immediately following an earthquake, which again is sort of ironic. We should be prepared with the coverage prior to the event, not rushing out and purchasing it once an earthquake occurs.
Steve Bowker, President and Chief Operating Officer of Arrowhead General Insurance Agency, Inc., says there are a number of reasons why homeowners lack the coverage, starting with a misunderstanding of what's included in their homeowner's policy. He suggests important coverage points agents should address to their clients from the beginning.
Some people mistakenly think that they have earthquake coverage with their homeowner's policy, and they do not. So the first thing is to point that out to the client, that if they want earthquake coverage, they need to secure that separately. And another interesting characteristic about an earthquake policy is the deductible. The deductibles are significant. And unlike other policies where the deductible applies to the loss amount, with an earthquake policy, the deductible applies to the coverage limit. So for example, if you had a $500,000 coverage limit on the dwelling, the deductible, if it were 10%, would be $50,000. So the insured has a significant deductible exposure when securing an earthquake policy. However, an earthquake policy is designed for catastrophic losses, so high deductibles help keep the prices down, but that's an unusual characteristic of an earthquake policy that should be pointed out to the client.
Agents must overcome objections in selling earthquake insurance to ensure that their clients fully understand the limits of their policy. This includes making sure clients are aware of the gaps in earthquake insurance, such as some personal properties that have an exclusion or significant sublimits.
So items like fine art or jewelry, in some cases, those items would not be covered by a typical earthquake policy and would need to be scheduled on a personal articles floater or as an extension from a homeowner's policy, and specifically the agent and the insured should make sure that the peril of earthquake is provided for those items. But again, that's usually excluded or sublimited on an earthquake policy.
Price, high deductibles, and perceived risk are all reasons why insurers are not getting the coverage. But Bowker says if you live in California, there is most definitely a valid threat to your property and a potential for large losses.
If you went on to any of the websites like the USGS website and looked at the earthquake activity in the state of California, certainly it's very seismically active, number one, and there are all sorts of predictions about large earthquakes occurring in the state, and so the objection of it's not going to happen to me may be somewhat short-sighted.
The largest provider of earthquake insurance for residential homes in California is the California Earthquake Authority, which was established after the Northridge earthquake in 1994. By law, every insurance company that offers homeowners insurance in California is required to offer earthquake insurance, although there are standalone options provided by many companies like Arrowhead, which has a dedicated unit that serves only the residential earthquake product. Their staff is available to answer any questions an agent might have in better providing this coverage to their client.
If an agent were to call or email anyone in that unit, they could provide them with a very fast and accurate answer when it comes to any sort of question about earthquake coverage, and we're more than willing to take those calls. Beyond that, we have a website, arrowheadexchange.com, where agents can log on and find all sorts of helpful tools to improve their knowledge about earthquake coverage and to give them some tips in terms of overcoming the typical objections that an insured might have about the coverage.